Well, good morning, evening, afternoon, wherever you happen to be at, whether you're northern or southern hemisphere. Figured today, I'd like to mention a little bit about our deities. Also, would like to speak about dragons. It seems to be pretty popular here recently, in recent years, plus with conversations with other pagans and whatnot. It seems to also be a pretty popular topic. Dragons are believed to be myth, believed to be real, just depends on who you ask. A popular belief, and one that I tend to believe myself, is that dragons do exist. However, they live in a different plane from us. So when speaking with dragons and trying to find a dragon guide or commune with them and have one to come into your home or into your life, you obviously have to perform certain rituals. And it also depends on what kind of dragon you want, what kind of attributes they have to what would benefit you most. There's tons of different kinds. There are some good books out there that you can read. I do have a few myself, however they're packed in storage, so I cannot get them out and show them to you. It's hard to imagine that they don't exist, because the fact that they're prevalent in cultures, ancient cultures all around the world. I mean, the Europeans had them up in the United Kingdom and Central Europe, and whole mainland. Chinese, Japanese, even the Aztecs, Mayans, the other Native American Indians, the Aborigine people. They believe that the rainbow serpent, which essentially would be equal to a dragon, it's just so prevalent around the world that you have to think there's something to it. It's just like with everything else. There's something to everything. The stories, the myths, they come from somewhere. Now you can say like, it could simply be that they found dinosaur fossils and believed them to be dragons. That's a good explanation. I don't personally believe that, but it is a good explanation for it, because we do know that where some stories that Homer wrote came from, based on like the Cyclops on a certain island, they have found many skulls of mammoths on this island, and a mammoth skull has a big hole right in the center of its forehead. So it would appear, if you didn't know what you're looking at and you were an ancient living back then, this was a big human skull with a hole for its eye right in the middle of its head. So, I mean, that would explain where that came from. Basically, I mean, there can be dragons for anything. There's dragons in the desert, dragons in the ocean, the air, for all the different elements, the forests. They're all going to resemble something different, more for what their native land is, or their native element, whichever. And you can speak with them, call to them, just like you would anything else. Basically, most of our, what people would say, performing magic, rituals and everything, is not really that much different than, say, a Christian, especially the Catholics, would go to church and pray. They pray, they'll commune, they have mass, wanting to speak to God, be closer to God. We do the same thing. We have our altars. Most of what we have set on our altars are visual tools, basically. They help us to focus our energies, which we can focus energies into the items themselves, which will allow those items to carry our energy and make them something special themselves. But it also helps us to focus our energies more, to speak with our higher power, to speak with the Lord and the Lady. And by doing what it's doing is, it's psychological. We have it in our head that this is helping us, so that gives that item the power to help us. And whatever it takes, whether you like to go out clothed, or whether you like to perform your ritual sky-clad, it all depends on you. But it's there to help you psychologically become closer to your higher power, your Lord and Lady, God, Goddess, whatever name you want to give them. That helps us to get closer to them. So when performing rituals, especially when calling dragons, we like to make a circle around us. This is important because it can keep out any bad energies from getting in. And by directing where we're pointing, whether it's our athame, our finger, a sword, whatever, and forming this circle, we're focusing that energy to that point and running it around and creating this field around us. We can draw, a way I learned many years ago was to imagine that you're focusing your energy into a cone, and the cone is building above you, and you visualize this, close your eyes and visualize this cone of energy building above you, building up, and then you send it out. Once it's built up, you send it out, and you visualize it being sent out to whatever you're directing. If you're say someone that you care for a couple states away is having a hard time, and you want to send them positive energy, you visualize doing it. You also do the same when you're wanting to speak with dragons, ancestors, or your gods and goddesses in any form or way. Visualize this, visualize them, visualize speaking with them. Often when I visualize them, not only do I get a very warm, comfortable feeling, but you can see the love and caring in their face. Obviously they're faces that we give them, but I mean, who's to say that those aren't their true faces that they are imposing on us, and we're just reflecting it back into our subconscious? Who knows? There's a lot of similarities between the old pagan writings and more modern writings of the Christians, Muslims, Jews, even though many of them won't admit it. There's a lot of similarities. One is, we've been speaking of dragons. There's dragons in myth for thousands of years, from pagan cultures and Christian cultures, and the Hindus and Buddhists, and you name it, they've got their cultures. Christians, like the Catholics, we have a different name for each aspect of our higher power as pagans. You know, the earth, air, wind, fire, spirit, the grass, everything has a different aspect to it. If we're wanting help for money or love, we reach out to a different aspect. Well, they're no different. They have saints. The saints actually were taken from pagan cultures. A lot of our aspects of our higher power that we called on were created into saints by the Catholics in order to help them convert us. Right along with all of our holidays. They took all of our holidays. We had the solstice, and then those that are Roman pagan actually had the 25th as a holiday as well. The Norse have Yule, and then those became the birth of Christ, because they were all about the rebirth of our God. For us pagans, it was the rebirth of our sun god, and that then became the birth of Jesus. Ostara, Istra, however you want to pronounce it, became Easter. That was the rebirth of Jesus. And for us pagans, that was the rebirth of the Virgin Goddess. So, I mean, you can see there's so many similarities and so much symbolism. It all comes back. I mean, every culture's got a belief system that had to come from somewhere. And as with dragons, there has to be some truth behind it. There's people all over the world that were never in contact with each other to have developed these belief systems, and for there to be so many similarities. The Native American Indians, they had the Great Spirit. It all had to come from somewhere. I think, in my opinion, that whatever we call our higher power, whether it be Cernunnos, greed, the Great Buffalo, God, Allah, so on and so forth, whatever we call it, it's still the same higher power. It's not like each religion develops, I go out and create my own religion, and our gods are this, and this is how they believe, and these gods automatically pop into being. It's not like that. I don't believe it's like that. There's a higher power, it's there. How we choose to perceive it, how we choose to call it, is something personal with us. It's how it defines us. And I don't think that if you put down another person for their beliefs, you're putting yourself down. You have to understand that their beliefs have come from somewhere, your beliefs have come from somewhere. Well, if that's what's in your heart, then that's what's in your heart. Now, how does that all relate to, back again to dragons? They were worshipped. They're still believed in. I still believe they exist. Many, many people still believe they exist. Many people want to believe they exist. They just want to deny it because they'll get ridiculed if they say that they do openly. You just have to close your eyes, meditate, think of them, think of what it is you're looking for, what it is you're asking, and call to them. Don't take them for granted, because they'll leave you. They're not. They are way more intelligent, more powerful beings than what we are. And they can be beneficial to us. They can also be detrimental. I see this video is running rather long now, so I probably should cut it short. I don't want to bore anybody. But thank you. Thanks for listening. Hope you all have a great day. And take care. Blessed be.